Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's Stories the Uncle back with another video. And man, I just want to talk about why the boxing community is upset at Keyshawn Davis. And it's for somewhat of a, let's say this, it's a layered issue. And it has really nothing to do with Keyshawn Davis as a whole. You have a lot of guys who are fans of Shakur Stevenson who root for Keyshawn Davis. I'm a fan of Shakur Stevenson, but I'm also a fan of Keyshawn Davis. He's one of my top five favorite fighters. So, it is what it is. Both of them are in my top five. But you have a lot of fans that are fans of Shakur that are not really fans of Keyshawn, that was rooting for Keyshawn Davis to finally put Devin Haney, Bill Haney, DHP in their place. You had a lot of guys who are purists who understand the sweet science, who understood that Keyshawn is levels above Devin Haney. And honestly, he let a lot of people down. He let a lot of people down. He disappointed a lot of people by not pursuing this fight because deep down the box community is fatigued of the Devin Haney, Bill Haney, DHP narrative. They're tired of it. And a lot of people are starting to finally, get hip to what's going on because Devin Haney has been in negotiations with what 20 different fighters, 11, 10 fighters this year alone, and has not fought. He is the only fighter outside of, I believe, Anthony Yard from that ring card that has not fought yet. Every other fighter, every other winning fighter has fought this year. David Benavidez has fought. Bam has fought. Abdullah Mason has fought. All right? All the guys, has Vito Milnicki fought this year? I think he has an upcoming fight. I'm not sure. But you have guys that have fought this year that won on that card. And he has been the only one that hasn't fought. And many people, whether they want to admit it or not, they know that Devin Haney is treated as if he's like the special ed kid of the boxing community. He has the accomplishments, but he does not have the performances. And when you look at Devin Haney's career, it's nice, but if you just look at it in a vacuum, it's a great resume, great accomplishments. But when you look at it in context and add perspective to it, whether it's with Regis Prograis, whether if it's with Ryan Garcia, whether if it's with Vasily Lomachenko, Gamboa, Linares, like when you actually add context to his career, Devin Haney is very beatable. And the frustrating part is Keyshawn is on the opposite end. When you just look at the amount of fights that he's had, 15 fights, 16 fights, and you look at it like, oh, he hasn't really done much, right? But once again, when you add the context in of his career with him being a silver medalist, when you add in the guys that he's beat that's never been stopped, that's never been beaten before, right? The same guys that gave other guys problems, right? That are his peers as well. When you add into that, right? You look at it like, damn, Keyshawn Davis was really supposed to fight Devin Haney and beat him. And to see him choose the money over, pretty much relieving the boxing community of all these narratives, because really right now, Devin Haney fans are kind of running rampant, even though they are completely ignoring the fact that Devin Haney is approaching a year outside the ring. They don't really care about Devin Haney actually boxing. It's about the brand. It's about the Debo aspect of Devin Haney, DHP, right? That's what it's about. It's about the narrative surrounding him. It's about the branding. It's not really about him actually going in the ring and looking dominant. That's the reason why they only mention the knockdown with Brian Number Jr. because they don't have anything else. The littlest thing gets highlighted. They talk about, oh, such a dominating performance. He landed 70 punches, bro. You cannot have a dominating performance if you only land 70 punches in 12 rounds. That's not a dominant performance. That's not a master class. That's nothing. Okay. That's actually very subpar. Throughout 12 rounds, you only landed 70 punches. That's like you would think that that was what, maybe up until what, the fifth round or the fourth round in an actual championship caliber type of matchup between two guys. One guy that's an undisputed champion, that has been an undisputed champion, two division world champion at that time, and a guy that's a champion in the welterweight division. You wouldn't suspect that that guy that's the undisputed, that's a former undisputed champion, two division world champion, only landed 70 punches. And in his previous fight, he only landed 70 punches, right? We can look at it, oh, it's, man, it's levels, it's this and that. But when you watch the fight, it didn't show levels. It showed a guy taking his foot off the gas, a guy really being a 6 round type of fighter, going away from his jab, relying on under 10 jabs per round, probably not even landing 8 per round, not even throwing 8 per round. It's just not really having another gear or another, just nothing, not really much of a bag. I understand to not have to use it, but that's when we go to Teal versus Shakur, right? When we see Shakur beating Teal with a jab, he landed and threw more punches than a Devin Haney, right? And his opponent was right there in his face. He was coming forward and doing everything. It's just different levels. That's what we call levels, to where he didn't have to use anything but a jab. Shakur doesn't clinch on the same level as Devin Haney. Shakur doesn't even clinch. But regardless of that, back to Keyshawn Davis. I know I went off on a little tangent. It's just many people are upset at Keyshawn Davis for not relieving the boxing community of this, what we know to be the truth. We know what Devin Haney is. We know what Bill Haney is. He's a snake oil salesman. And if you don't know what that means, I can't help you out. All right. And it seems to be some type of developments when it comes to Keyshawn Davis. I don't really know what he's supposed to be announcing this week. By the time this video is posted, he might have already announced it or whatever. But there's speculation that he could be fighting Frank Martin, which is somewhat of a cool fight, because honestly, people have been, the thing is with Keyshawn Davis, a lot of people will say, oh, he ducked Frank Martin, this, that, whoa, right? And if he chose to fight Frank Martin, they'd be like, oh, this is a worse fight than Devin Haney. Like, you can't really win, okay? Then the reason why Keyshawn can't win is because he's associated with Shakur, all right? Shakur can't win. So that means anybody associated with Shakur outside of Bud Crawford is not going to win, okay? You're not going to win, okay? If it's like, say, if you're Shakur's brother and you're an active boxer, you're not going to be able to win. Like Hitchinson, like Ray Ford, even though I picked O'Shaquie Foster to beat Ray Ford, but you're not going to win. There's always going to be a narrative against you, even if it's false, even if it doesn't make sense, okay? If he fought Frank Martin, they're going to complain about that, even though they've been saying that he ducked Frank Martin for the longest, right? But if he fought Brian Norman Jr., which does not seem to be the case, I was hoping for that, but it is what it is. But the rumor is that him and Jack Catterall are supposed to be fighting on the undercard of Tyson Fury versus Joshua. And, that's cool. And it'll be for more money. Definitely be for more than $3 million. But I think that's what Keyshawn Davis is in the business for. And I have a sneaky suspicion that he was trying to get out of his top rank deal, and he wanted to avoid being a champion because I think it was something with an extension or something like that, mandatory extension. I don't know what that is, but I don't know the details on his contract or whatever. But I have a sneaky suspicion that he's trying to get to Zuffa Boxing. That's what I believe. I believe that he's trying to get to Zuffa Boxing. I don't think Keyshawn cares anything about the belts. I don't think he cares anything about legacy. I think that Keyshawn Davis is in the boxing business to make money and money only. I think that's what he's in the boxing business for. I think that a guy like Shakur Stevenson cares about legacy and money. I think Keyshawn Davis only cares about the money. And there's nothing wrong with that because he has the skills to pay the bills, right? But, it's a rumor that he's supposed to be fighting Jack Catterall. And honestly, the winner of that does go on to fight the winner of Teofimo Lopez versus Rolly Romero, which will be Teofimo Lopez. And if he fights Teo, he will beat Teo. But still, again, you know, that would be for the WBA belt, to where he can revisit a fight with Devin Haney for unification, to where he doesn't have to worry about the percentages. He can get that $5 million. So, you know, it's a good path. I'm not gonna lie. I can't lie. If this is true, if the rumor is true surrounding that, that would be an amazing, when I mean amazing, pivot, and it would be something that we didn't see coming, but it would make sense all in total as to why he turned down the fight. Because I don't think many people want it to be about him being fearful of Devin Haney, because that's what the Devin Haney fans live for. They don't live for the fights. They don't show up to the fights. They don't buy the fights. They don't pay-per-views. They don't book the hotels. They don't book the flights. They don't buy the tickets. They don't pull up to the events. They live for Devin Haney being Debo. And what I mean by that is that they care more about the folklore of Devin Haney than the truth. Okay? They don't care about watching him in the ring, because that's not exciting, you know? It's not like, it's like LeBron fans. It's like they live for the Jordan LeBron debate. They don't actually live for the fact that LeBron has been gifted a lot of, like the last 2 years, especially, all NBA selections over more deserving players, all-star selections over more deserving players, because he's LeBron. That's what it is. And not to say that Devin Haney is on the same level as LeBron when it comes to him as a boxer. What I'm saying is, it's that same type of thing. And I'm going to get into that in another video. But once again, Keyshawn Davis let down the boxing community from the standpoint of him allowing a guy like Devin Haney to get by, okay? Because make no mistake about it, they did everything. They tried to fight Tank. They tried to fight Ryan. They tried to fight Rolly. They tried to fight everybody but Keyshawn. So when it finally came, they had nowhere else to go but Keyshawn, okay? Nowhere else to go. And now what they're trying to do is revisit Shakur, but we're going to get into that in another video. And Keyshawn Davis, whatever his plan is, if he is fighting Jack Catterall, that means that he will be in line for the WBA belt, and he's going to beat whoever's in his way. It is what it is. And then that will lead back to, okay, now we get a unification fight. Now we get to play the real percentages. Devin Haney will slightly still be the A side, but it won't be a 25-75 split. It'll be some more of a 60-40, okay? And since they'll be both champions. And I'm pretty sure Turkey Al-Sheikh will support that fight. But, you know, here's where we are. And hopefully, like I said, it's all speculation. It's all speculation. But the truth of the matter is, people are mad at Keyshawn Davis is because he allowed the Debo brand to survive another term. That's what they're mad at. That's what I'm mad at. That's what a lot of boxing purists are mad at. That's what a lot of fans of boxing are mad at, is because the Debo narrative has been allowed to survive, because this was supposed to be the moment. This was supposed to be the moment that we like, yeah, Devin Haney finally gets to fight a skillful guy with good feet, good boxing fundamentals, a guy that's more skilled than him, that's around his size, not quite his size, but around his size. And we finally get to see how good Devin Haney is. And I think Keyshawn Davis would have beat him. But once again, we didn't get a chance to find out because Keyshawn Davis was in it for the money. He only wants to fight Devin Haney for the money. He doesn't want to fight Devin Haney for the legacy, and he's looking at the short term. He never looked at the long term. He thinks fighting Devin Haney is going to get him some bag. No, it's not. Devin Haney doesn't even... Devin Haney... When the last time you saw Devin Haney fight in the States, like on a non-Saudi card? When? It's been a minute, huh? That's because Devin Haney doesn't sell. Devin Haney is not... He don't put asses in seats. And we're going to get to that in another video. This is my third time saying this. Stop asking me. Okay? I'm just playing with y'all. But, yeah, man. Keyshawn Davis, he let the box community down by allowing the Debo Dev narrative to survive another term. And once again, Devin Haney has not fought this year, and it's for a reason. It's pretty hard to cherry pick. Let's say that. Peace.